The quaint town of Winder, Georgia became the scene of unimaginable tragedy on Wednesday, September 4, 2024. Gunfire erupted at Apalachee High School, shattering the morning calm and leaving a community grappling with the devastating consequences. 4 innocent lives were brutally cut short, and 9 others were injured. This horrific act of violence has left a scar on the hearts of families, friends, and a nation already weary from the scourge of gun violence. The first emergency calls came in around 8:15 a.m., just as classes were beginning. Panic ensued as the sound of gunshots echoed through the hallways. Students and teachers scrambled for cover, desperately seeking safety amidst the chaos. Within minutes, the school was on lockdown, and a heavy police presence descended upon the scene. As news of the shooting spread, a collective sense of horror and disbelief gripped the nation. Parents rushed to the school, desperate for any information about their children. The air was thick with fear, anxiety, and the piercing wails of sirens. This was a nightmare scenario come true, a tragedy that no community should ever have to endure. The victims of the Apalachee High School shooting were 2 14-year-old students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, and 2 dedicated teachers, Richard Aspinwall, 39, and Christina Irami, 53. Their lives, full of promise and passion, were tragically cut short by this senseless act of violence. The community has been left in shock and mourning, grappling with the loss of these cherished individuals. Mason, described by friends as a bright and cheerful young man with an infectious laugh, had a passion for soccer and dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. He was known for his dedication to his team and his unwavering spirit on the field. Christian, a gifted artist with a quiet demeanor, was known for his kindness and his love of animals. His artwork often reflected his gentle nature and his deep connection with the world around him. Richard Aspinwall, a history teacher at Apalachee High School for over a decade, was deeply respected by his students and colleagues alike. He had a unique ability to make history come alive, captivating his students with stories from the past. He was known for his engaging teaching style, his infectious enthusiasm, and his genuine care for his students. Richard's dedication extended beyond the classroom, as he often stayed after school to help students with their studies or to simply lend a listening ear. Christina Irami, a beloved English teacher, had a passion for literature and a gift for inspiring her students to love reading and writing. She was known for her creative teaching methods and her ability to connect with students on a personal level. She was a mentor and a friend to many, and her absence will be deeply felt within the school community. Christina's influence extended beyond the classroom, as she often organized book clubs and writing workshops to foster a love of literature among her students. These 4 individuals, each with their unique stories, talents, and aspirations, will forever be remembered for their kindness, their contributions to the school community, and the bright light they brought into the lives of those who knew them. Their legacy will live on in the hearts and minds of the students, teachers, and community members who were touched by their presence. Their loss has left a void that can never be filled. The community continues to come together, finding strength in shared memories and the enduring impact of Mason, Christian, Richard, and Christina's lives. As the investigation into the Apalachee High School shooting unfolds, chilling details have emerged about the suspect, 14-year-old student Colt Gray. The community is in shock, grappling with the reality that someone so young could be involved in such a heinous act. Students and teachers alike are left to wonder if there were signs they missed, clues that could have prevented this tragedy. Authorities have revealed that Gray had been flagged by the FBI in 2023 following an anonymous tip about online threats. This tip was not just a casual mention, but included specific details that raised red flags for the authorities. The FBI's involvement indicates the severity of the threats and the potential danger they posed. The tip, which included images of guns, suggested that Gray might be planning a school shooting. These images were alarming, showing a young teenager posing with firearms, a sight that is both disturbing and indicative of deeper issues. The online threats were explicit, leaving little room for doubt about the potential for violence.
Acting on this information, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office interviewed both Gray and his father, Colin Gray, in 2023. The interview was thorough, aiming to uncover any underlying issues or potential risks. The father-son dynamic was scrutinized, with authorities trying to understand the family environment and any possible influences on Colt's behavior. At the time, Colin Gray claimed that while he owned hunting rifles, His son did not have unsupervised access to them. He emphasized the importance of gun safety and responsible ownership, insisting that all firearms were securely stored. This assurance seemed to satisfy the authorities at the time, leading them to believe that the risk was minimal. Colt Gray denied making any threats, and the investigation was seemingly closed. His denial, coupled with his father's reassurances, led the authorities to conclude that there was no immediate danger. The case was filed away, and life went on as usual until the unthinkable happened. However, the recent tragedy has raised serious questions about whether more could have been done to prevent this horrific act of violence. The community is now left to mourn and question the effectiveness of the measures that were in place. Could more stringent actions have been taken? Were there other signs that were overlooked?
The FBI flag, coupled with the online threats and the presence of firearms in the home, paint a disturbing picture of a potential tragedy waiting to happen. The combination of these factors created a volatile situation that, in hindsight, seems almost inevitable. The role of the FBI in monitoring and acting on such threats is now under intense scrutiny. This chilling revelation has reignited the debate about gun control, mental health resources, and the responsibility of law enforcement agencies to act on potential threats. The community is calling for more comprehensive measures to prevent such tragedies, including better mental health support and stricter gun control laws. It has also raised concerns about the accessibility of firearms to minors and the devastating consequences that can occur when warning signs are ignored. Parents and educators are now more vigilant, understanding that the safety of their children depends on recognizing and addressing these warning signs before it's too late. In a shocking turn of events, Colin Gray, the father of the suspected shooter, has been arrested and charged in connection with the Apalachee High School tragedy. The 54-year-old faces a litany of charges, including 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Prosecutors allege that Colin Gray's negligence directly contributed to the deaths and injuries at the high school. Despite being aware of the FBI flag and the online threats made by his son, Colin Gray allegedly failed to secure his firearms adequately, allowing his son access to the weapon used in the shooting. The charges against Colin Gray underscore the critical importance of responsible gun ownership, particularly in households with minors. Prosecutors argue that his failure to secure his firearms, coupled with his alleged knowledge of his son's troubling behavior, amounted to a reckless disregard for human life. This case is likely to fuel the ongoing national conversation about gun safety and the responsibility of gun owners to prevent tragedies like this from occurring. It also highlights the devastating consequences of inaction and the need for stricter laws and accountability measures to protect innocent lives. The Apalachee High School shooting has left the small town of Winder, Georgia, reeling in shock and grief. The close-knit community is struggling to come to terms with the unimaginable loss. The tragedy has not only shattered the lives of the victims' families, but has also left a deep scar on the entire town, and the long road to healing that lies ahead. Vigils have been held, tears have been shed, and hearts have been broken. The community is trying to find solace in each other's company, hoping that unity will help them navigate through this dark time. And the community has come together to support the victims' families and offer solace to one another. Yet, amidst the grief and despair, there is also a growing sense of anger and frustration. Many are demanding answers, accountability, and a clear plan of action to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The pain is palpable, and the demand for change is urgent, and concrete action to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The community is calling for enhanced security measures in schools, better mental health support, and stricter gun control laws. They believe that these steps are essential to ensure the safety of their children and to prevent future heartbreak.
We need to ensure that no other parent has to go through this unbearable pain. Our children deserve to feel safe at school. It's not just about our town, it's about every community across the nation. We need to come together and demand the changes that will protect our children. And it's time for real change. We cannot afford to wait any longer. The safety of our children should be our top priority, and we must act now to make a difference.
I can't believe this happened here. We need to do something, anything, to make sure it never happens again. This tragedy has opened our eyes to the urgent need for change, and we must seize this moment to make our voices heard.
Across the nation, the shooting has reignited the debate about gun control and school safety. Communities everywhere are grappling with the same fears and concerns, and the call for action is growing stronger. People are no longer willing to accept the status quo, and the pervasive issue of gun violence in America. People are demanding stricter gun laws, increased mental health resources, and a comprehensive approach to tackling this complex issue. The conversation is shifting, and there is a renewed sense of urgency to address the root causes of gun violence, and a renewed commitment from lawmakers to address this national crisis. The cries for change are growing louder, fueled by the unbearable weight of yet another senseless tragedy. The nation is at a crossroads, and the decisions made now will shape the future of our communities and the safety of our children. The time for action is now, and the voices of the people must be heard. In the wake of the Apalachee High School shooting, government officials have expressed their condolences and vowed to take action. However, the tragedy has also exposed the deep political divisions that continue to hinder meaningful progress on gun control and school safety. President Joe Biden addressed the nation, expressing his profound sadness and outrage over the shooting. He called for stricter gun control measures, including universal background checks, a ban on assault weapons, and red flag laws that allow authorities to temporarily remove firearms from individuals deemed a danger to themselves or others. However, these proposals face significant opposition from gun rights advocates and many Republican lawmakers who argue that such measures infringe on the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. The debate over gun control remains deeply polarized, with little consensus on how to effectively address this complex issue. In addition to gun control, there have been calls for increased security measures in schools, such as metal detectors, security guards, and active shooter drills. While these measures may provide a sense of security, they also raise concerns about turning schools into fortresses and potentially traumatizing students.